Hey guys, how are you doing? Welcome to the Academic Answers podcast. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for listening in. And I want to just take this a moment to tell everyone out there in the world who is facing this crisis, this coronavirus, COVID-19 crisis that is ripping through the world like crazy. And the numbers are just escalating. I mean, like, it doesn't matter how much you look at the totality of numbers. That's all well and good when you're on a big screen or when you're in a general conversation and when you're called upon to do the numbers like the news and the politicians and the interest group. I get that. That's how they have to report it. That's how it goes. That's what's, it is in terms of numbers. I believe in numbers. I love maths. I understand the importance of maths. But look here. When something is killing 5,000, 10,000 people, when something is killing 200 people in one day, that's a huge thing. That's a big deal. It's a killer pandemic. It's a killer disease. It is really bad. It's a terrible virus. People are dying. People are dying. It's highly contagious. People are ending up in the hospital in droves. People are ending up on respirators. People are on respirators for 21, 30 odd days. It is a bad thing. Don't downplay it. Don't listen to the numbers and compare it about, 200,000 people are infected, 500,000 are infected, only 20,000 are hospitalized, only 15,000 die, only 20,000 dies. Look, people are dying. These are lives. Economies come back, countries come back, cities come back, but lives don't come back. And they are loved ones, they are breadwinners, they are somebody loved them, they are an icon, they are a motivator, they are leaders for somebody. So when we lose lives, it's never a good thing. It doesn't matter how you spin it. It doesn't matter how you spin it. It's a bad thing because it is a killer thing. It's killing people. People are dying and people are getting sick. Okay, so I'm really expressing my sympathy and just my plea, my impassionate plea to be careful out there and act as if it is something that if you get it, it will hurt you or kill you, because it is that type of disease. And one of the two things that about it that spooks me out, that's really, really, really bad, is that the incubation period is 14 days. That means it's lingering in your system for 14 days, 10 to 14 days before signs start to come up. During this incubation period, you can transmit it. The other thing about it, it is showing signs that some people are carriers, meaning you might not be experiencing a lot of symptoms, but you have the disease and you go around people, you have the virus, you go around people, you give it to them, they have a worse case of it, they have critical cases, they die. That's horrible. So those two things are really, really sore points for me. Now, this question today, if I'm just getting to the podcast, because this is really trying times, and we have to pull together, we have to care about each other, and we have to do what we can do to stop the spread of the virus. Yesterday I walked up to the store. There's a line to go into the store because in New York they're letting in like 10 people in a building at a part at any particular point in time. So 10 to 15, and then they're letting another set. So I'm there standing outside, and this guy looked like a supervisor. He walked out the building. There was a napkin on the ground, a piece of napkin, a used napkin on the ground, and he walked out the building, stooped, picked up the used napkin with his bare hands, picked up the napkins with his bare hands, tossed it in the bin, walked back to beside the guy who was monitoring the traffic coming into the store, stuff his hands in his pocket, they're rubbing his hands together, totally. He never used anything to pick it up. He never went to the bathrooms immediately. He just picked up that used napkin at the front and went on doing what he was doing. That is what I mean when I say we must take care of others. There's this also, and I mentioned one other thing before I get into the question. There's this policy that the Jamaican government came up with, that he said if you are 60, I think 50 and older, or 55 and older, I remember the exact age, but elderly folks, you cannot come out. You must stay in. You're mandated to stay in and your employer is mandated to pay you if you're working. I hear the governor of New York going over back and forth about hospital beds, stemming the flow, doing this and that. I went into the pharmacy yesterday, and the lady that was serving me cannot be under 75, probably is 80. She was at the self-checkout machine. Almost her knee, her forehead is almost touching her knee. She's totally bent over, helping people at the machine. These people shouldn't be out there, because if a disease hit them, it's a wipeout. It's a 99% chance that it's done. They can go home. Employers must let them go home, or employees, you cannot appeal to employers for this thing. The state should have mandated that employers don't keep them on the workforce, and if they can't pay them, if the employer can't pay them, the state must send them money. Period. That's a simple, straightforward strategy. I need to call the office of the governor to talk to somebody about this, because I don't want to sit out here complaining and not calling to find out what's going on. So I'm going to do that. Anyway, we are talking about many fallout in the economy, and someone say, what are the challenges facing small businesses, why they don't grow, and why they can't withstand pressures like these? Because he thinks that a good friend of his has a very viable small business that he has had for many years, and now has seen this crisis and is struggling to ride out 2 weeks, struggling to ride out 3 weeks, and he's wondering, and he's looking around and saying, hey, many of these small businesses go through the same thing. Well, two things I always talk about, and I'm very passionate about it. Everybody who come to me, and I don't think people get it, everybody who come to me who talk about opening a business, who talk about running a small business, who talk about starting a side hustle, anything on their own. People who are working, people who are employed, people who want to branch out on their own, people who just want a side hustle, or people who have run businesses for a long time and need help in some way or the other, whether on social media, websites, advertising, whatever they need. If they ever reach out to me, people who talk to me, and I get a bunch of these people talking to me and asking me questions. And the first thing I always say, whether you're starting, whether you are in and you're trying to scale, you must get an education. While you reach, if let's say you jump at the opportunity and you're biased towards action, while you reach for your checkbook, while you reach for your credit card, while you reach for your business plan, while you reach for that lease to get that place, open that store, whatever you do, as you reach for that, ensure that you are making a concerted effort to get the knowledge just the same. As aggressive as you are to get the business going, you must be aggressive to get the knowledge going. We have so many people who want to wing business. You want to run a business that's going to bring in more revenue than a doctor who spent 10 years learning in his craft. You get to that level where you actually do it, but you can't sustain it, or anything can throw you off your game because you still have not decided that you need to invest some time in educating yourself about business, how your business works, how other people scale your business, how to manage staff, how to manage cash flow, how budgeting is done, how your cost of sales work, how your profit and loss work, how your line items work. You fail to stop to get the education about this thing, to read the book, to go to the seminar, to go back to the class, to do the course. That is the greatest pitfall. I see people spending millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars, thousands of dollars getting started on projects, and they have never done anything in business before. They don't know anything about their numbers, they don't know anything about business, they don't know anything about industry. and they fail miserably, and then they say they're unlucky, or boy, it never worked out for them, or something went bad, or it's someone else's fault. You cannot take the approach that you will figure it out. Not because you can get a lease or buy a property or build a store, find a supplier to give you goods, or you have a skill where you can cook, you can fix shoes, you can fix phones. Not because you can put all those elements together mean you have the business piece all figured out. Look, it is not a shame. It is not a shame, because the doctor, the lawyer, the CEO, the multinational companies, the managers, the sales executives, the insurance people, the plumbers, the mechanics, whoever they are, never weren't born doing the thing that they're doing. They had to learn. You and I learned to walk. When we were born, we couldn't even hold up our heads. We pulled on ourselves. We had to learn these things. It's the golden nugget. That is the golden bit. You must learn what you are doing. Pick up a book. Set aside time to understand it from a higher level. Otherwise, you will be just working for your business, working in a business you have. You will be self-employed and not own a business. And that's two different things. It is the worst thing to be self-employed, because you get burnout, you don't know anything about what's happening, and you are vulnerable. You sit on a fragile base, you lose your business overnight. There's a laundry list of people who have been in business for 10, 15, 20 years, 30 years, and wake up one morning and it's all gone, it's burned, it's disappeared. Not because conditions go bad, but because they don't understand what they're doing, and they never stop to understand what they're doing. It has happened to me 20 odd times. What did I just say? It has happened to me 20 odd times. I've gone out there in business. I thought what they taught me in school was enough. It was woefully inadequate. And you see guys everywhere, online and offline, winging stuff, not leveling up stuff, not doing the right thing, because they are making an income, and income is working now, and not realizing that the foundation that they're on, the systems that they have, are full of loopholes and are vulnerable. Small businesses must realize that. Find out all you need. What is the system? What are the staffing? Find out what the successful, solid companies have, and what successful, solid entrepreneurs do, how they diversify their income, how they sell their businesses, how they move on, how they invest in other things, how they manage their cash flow, how they manage their staff, how they run their businesses. Not everybody have these skills. If you don't go out there and develop these skills, intentionally seek these skills and this knowledge and learn it, you are setting yourself up for really, really tough times. First thing. Next thing, it's easy. I don't have to go forever. Second thing, find a model. Find a proven model. Find a model that works. Learn something. Learn from a model that someone has scaled from a similar position that you are, and copy the stupid thing. Don't reinvent it. Don't go back and forth. Just copy it and do it. If there's a guy who is selling smoothies, if there's a guy who is fixing computers, if there's a guy who's running a variety shop and he's taking it to a chain of stores, a chain of restaurants, a chain of tech companies, follow him. Ask what he did. Learn from him. Pay him for coaching and do what he did. Don't reinvent the wheel. Don't get in your head. Don't get into ego. Just think about it on a wider scale. I remember this time when we were doing this company and we were OEM producing a wine from a supplier. So he was doing his own business. And by OEM, I mean He was making the stuff. We printed our label, give it to him, and then it was our own brand. So he was doing his brand alongside making stuff for ours. So we went to him once and said to him that, hey, tell you what, we realized that it will be difficult for you to keep up with your demand. Get your lawyer, let's sit at the table, not us, we're going to write you an agreement, you get your lawyer, go to somebody, we pay for the cost, let's sit at the table and work out a joint venture agreement. We take your company 50-50. We're going to make it to X. We're going to give you a payout. We're going to value it now. We're going to buy it all. And then you still own 50% of it. We're projecting that the revenue will double, triple in a year. And then in 5 years, this will be no longer a $1 million company, probably be an $8 million company. You already would have gotten paid. You already own half of it. He couldn't let go. He didn't want to do that because he was not savvy enough to understand that 100% of 100 is much less than 50% of a million. What do I mean? His company was valued as about 250,000. He had 100% of that 250,000. He had the headaches. He couldn't grow. He couldn't scale it. He didn't know what to do. 250,000. We were giving the guy the $250,000, paying him out for it, and still owning half of the company, still have him owning half of it. So he gets whatever revenue, however he wants, same way, plus a salary. He wouldn't take that because he didn't understand that, look, I'll have my 250 and suddenly I'll be valued at 500, and then in a couple of months I'll be at $1 million and it would grow. He's hogging on to it because of ego, and he's not a true entrepreneur. He's just a self-employed person who has his pride wrapped up in his invention. Listen, if you do that, if you don't have a proven system, or if you can't scale, if you don't know what you're doing, you're not going to. I see so many people dropping the ball in business. And I'm not telling you this because I am this almighty of businesses. I'm just telling you this because I've made the mistakes. Thinking that you know it all, not understanding what you don't know, and not realizing that there are proven models out there. And if you can grab one of these models and duplicate them, then you can take the burden of the business off your back. 90% of small businesses unnecessarily are being run on the owner's back. Unnecessarily. Because what they're trying to protect in a couple of dollars, they're leaving the money on the table tenfold. So they don't want to pay out a salary of $20,000. They don't want to get a commission guy and let them bring sales to 100 and give the guy 20% of it. And because of that, they're keeping 20 and they're losing 150 every month. And they don't have any clue what they're doing. And they don't know how to diversify. And they make a truckload of money because they probably run up into a good location. And they make the money, and they get into personal stuff with it, and they do all type of crazy stuff with it. And in 2 years, some competitor come and wipe them out, and they have no cash flow, they have no cash left, they can't diversify, they haven't scaled, they don't have any strength to compete, they weren't advertising, they don't have a brand. So small businesses must learn business. Learn business, 1. 2, learn the business you're in. 3, understand that you need a proven system to follow. And 4, build a brand. Build a brand. Build your brand by producing content. What do I mean by producing content? Giving people value. Teach. This is the information age. Information is the commodity. Get out there, be in people's news feeds. Attention is the holy grail of business, of sale. Be in people's news feed, be on their social media profiles, be in their emails. Teach them stuff, add value, stay at the forefront of their mind. If you make shoes, send out content about shoes. If you make dresses, send content out about dresses. If you make smoothies, if you make lunches, send out content every day about this thing. That's how you build brand. That's what the big companies do. That is why I'm telling you to follow a proven system. Stop listening to what they say and start to watch what they do. Get integrated into wider society. Contribute to charities, contribute to government causes, build your name, your brand, your awareness. And that is what the longevity of brands mean. Products and companies fail. Brands don't fail. A good brand is a good brand. It's the hardest thing to fail. I shouldn't say brands don't fail, but brands will brand is the last thing to fail. A brand is always good. It's a company and a structure around a good brand that fails the brand. So that's what you need to know to run a small business, especially in these times when things are turned upside down. Don't matter what small business you do. You see, that is it. We think we're business owners and we don't want to learn anymore. We think that learning is a part of life and not a way of life. So the time when we are supposed to be reading something, when we are supposed to be studying, going to the course, we're gallivanting, we're doing everything else because we don't have to go to a 9 to 5 and the money is coming in and we are doing good. But that is so fleeting and that doesn't sustain. Open your eyes, my friends. Think about your business. Go get the knowledge. Thank you. Have a good one. Follow me on Instagram, Lone Motivator Car, Facebook, LoneMotivatorCar.com. Appreciate it. Always a pleasure.